I have a gray. Do you see that?
Oh.
Oh my God.
Beadlocks, Meatloaf, and Ryan's mom. Which one do we love the most?
Let's do it.
Are beadlocks right for you? Check out this week's episode of the Parts Room Podcast, where we are going to discuss it. Do you have anything to include on that as far as explaining why you would air down?
Yeah, that's it for me. Keep from puncturing the sidewall. It's a little bit more forgiving. Keep from rolling it off. Be able to get that pressure down so that when I'm rock crawling, I've got as much traction as possible. In the sand, that's the last place I want to roll one off and fill it full of sand.
Oh God!
So a great opportunity to run a beadlock. And
well, then you just inadvertently threw some balancing beads in, so maybe it's not that bad, right?
Maybe it's not that bad.
We're not going to talk about balancing beads, but so that's a good explanation. I think a pretty decent one. There may be some something I'm forgetting there about why you would air down, but so that's kind of the more or less the reason why we as Jeep owners, or I guess you could include Bronco in that group, would air down when we're going on a trail. Why would I want to be locked in? Is because the decreased air pressure inside the tire may make it more susceptible to losing a bead when we start rock crawling. So we get on the trails, and you've seen it, man. We can really wad that tire up on those rocks in ways where people are like, how's that tire going to survive going over this rock all that weight? But again, it's because we decrease air pressure. But the risk that you're now running because you don't have a bead lock is you can unseat the bead from the wheel and really cause yourself a headache when you're out on the trail. And the way to mitigate the possibility of losing a bead is with a bead lock. And plus, on top of that, bead locks are expensive. I mean, I think a KMC bead lock now runs about almost $600 a wheel.
They're almost 600. Yeah.
Okay, and then we're going to add $100 to that just for the mounting and balancing of that. So, and then the tire. I mean, it's quite expensive to own beadlocks. And so not only is it, the headaches of getting done with the initial setup of it, but the serviceability of it later on. People need to understand with beadlocks, it's not that simple.
Another thing that we brought up, that he brought up, Tony actually brought up, was the beadlock versus beadlock capable. Was something else.
Well, I'm going to let Tony talk about that because he's the one running beadlock capable wheels.
Yes. Let's hear what those are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So beadlock capable is like what comes on the Bronco or what comes on the Recon package now.
Yeah.
On a Jeep. So it actually comes with more of what it looks like a beadlock. It's a beauty ring, right? And then you have to call somebody like Ryan, shameless plug, and ask him, how do I get the actual kit? And then he's going to probably tell you to go to Mopar or tell you to go to Ford, but he still wants you to call him. You have to dismount the tire. You have to move it out a ledge on the tire because right now it's on the inside like a traditional rim. You have to have it dismounted and pulled out one level, and then with the real ring, not the beauty ring that came on it, you can actually do an outer clamp style. So it's still an outer clamp style. I'm personally running mine right now in non-beadlock on the Bronco because I'm just daily driving it, and the tires on it that came with it are pretty soft. So I'm anticipating flats and patches, and I just want to be able to go over to discount tire. Yeah. And I've had mixed experiences, even pulling up with those trail readies that I had on Rooster, and say, "Hey, man, just rotate these for me. I don't want to deal with it. Just rotate them." And one discount tire won't even touch them because they're beadlocks. And then you drive across town, and the other one's like, "Yeah, as long as I don't have to air them up or down, I'll rotate them."
Yeah.
So,
I think that's them interpreting their corporate policy.
Exactly.
That's the human error interpretation. So,
yep.
Yeah. But you may run into that problem. So that's something to think about when somebody's choosing a beadlock. It's like you can't even get a discount to rotate them. Sometimes you can't. And no matter how much you argue with them and try and rationalize why it's okay, they just won't budge from it. So I'm sorry.
I wouldn't want to be a tire guy right now with these beadlock ready ones, because how do you identify whether somebody, made the change or not? And so what's our responsibility as the owner of the vehicle to let them know that, hey, we've moved this to a beadlock position now, so that they're not over there smashing on it with the tire machine, breaking your rim.
Oh, man. Well, that's just a taste of it. So make sure if you want to see the rest of it, go over to Spotify. You can watch it and listen, or you can go to Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts and listen to the whole thing. We'll see you there.